Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles. Thank you for joining us from wherever in the world you are listening or watching this, and whatever platform it is. Make sure you hit subscribe, download the Mile High app so you can listen to this podcast anywhere. Of course, if it's on YouTube or Stitcher or iTunes, make sure you hit subscribe there. But you can have all of it and all the recordings of all the episodes in the Mile High app. So make sure you hit that. And we look forward to seeing you on higher ground, which is where this podcast is being recorded at. But we look forward to seeing you here too at 5,280 feet from Mile High 11 in September of 2023. So mark your calendar and make sure that that is dialed in. So you are at the 11th Mile High Chiropractic Movement Weekend, which our guest has been at frequently. And I am so grateful to have on this episode a fellow New Yorker, a chiropractic advocate, chiropractor, and someone who's really helping new generation find their way into chiropractic. And he is a huge advocate for the profession. And thank you so much for all he does. Dr. David Scheiner, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Danny. It's been great getting to know you over these decades and seeing you, especially, and Rochelle, and all the beautiful guests and speakers at Mile High.
It's so funny. It is decades, isn't it?
It is. Anyway,
I don't know if I want to say
that. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I know. And I see you everywhere. I see you at Mile High, see you at Colorado University recruitments. I see you in East Coast, West Coast. You're doing things for chiropractic all the time. So first of all, what lit that passion to give so much to chiropractic and chiropractors and humanity?
It's inversely proportional in that chiropractic and chiropractors have given so much to me in my lifetime that I wanted to pay the profession back, if you will, if that's even possible, to get close, because chiropractic, I think, is ad infinitum in what it delivers to humanity and to chiropractors and future students and lay people. That's where Innate spoke to me and said, well, now it's time to give back to the profession. I was lucky enough to have 4 great practices in Atlanta over 20 years. And then that bug just hit me. Time to give back.
You know, well, you said that very perfectly, because here's the thing. I think so often, what do I have in my life because of chiropractic? My health, in my case, being alive, my kids' health, my wife, so many gifts. And to that which you've been given, from that you've been given so much, it's a principle to give back to it. It's really a life spiritual principle that's vital, and a lot of people don't necessarily realize that. And I hope that sinks in what you said. So let's have people get to know you a little bit better. New York boy, grew up in Long Island. How'd you find your way to chiropractic?
Well, yeah, I'm from Queens originally, and then moved out to Long Island when I was 3. And my mom was very into spiritual methodologies and would bring Native American elders from different parts of New York to our home a few times a year to deliver weekend retreat workshops. And so I was turned on to spiritual concepts and principles and methodologies from a little kid. And then that kept going until my early teenage years, and and she gave me various books like Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Celestine Prophecy. Some people may not recognize the name of Leo Buscaglia. Leo Buscaglia, obviously you know who that is, wrote groundbreaking books on the theme of love.
Right.
Which is what chiropractic is. It is about love, which I'm sure we'll get more into. So I graduated from undergrad, came back to Long Island, and somebody recommended, oh, you should go see a chiropractor. I'm like, for what? I don't have any pain, you know? And they said, well, you don't have to have pain to go to a chiropractor. They can help you with overall function and performance. So that was my first exposure to what the promise of what chiropractic has to offer. And I went to a chiropractor in Queens who was my neighbor across the street on Long Island, but he didn't have a home office. So I had to drive 20 minutes to Queens. I got adjusted and I said, Tony, if you can imagine, his name was Tony.
Imagine that.
What did you just
in New
do?
York?
In New York.
Oh.
I said, Tony, after he adjusted me, what did you just do to me for the first time? He adjusted me. He said, if you want to know what I just did for you, not to you, come back next Thursday night to my new patient orientation health class.
What? Pause there. What a great statement. What I did for you instead of to you. That's huge.
That's so huge. And what was more huge was the next Thursday evening, I did go to that class because I had this thing called a hunch. And I recommend to everybody and anybody that listens is when you have a hunch, follow it because it's your innate voice speaking to you. Follow this path instead of the past path most traveled. So in that class, Tony broke down the promise and the wisdom of universal laws and innate intelligence and chiropractic. And at the end of the class, the other 29 people left because it was a blizzard coming down. I stayed and helped him put away the flip charts and the dry erase markers and chairs and all this stuff. And I said, Tony, how do I become what you do? And the rest, as they say, is history.
There you go. There you go. And you know, that was your first experience. That was your first week of chiropractic care.
That was my first week of care. And then, you know, I didn't go back to see him. He provided that purpose coming across one another.
Right.
I believe that universal intelligence, innate intelligence puts certain people in our path for a certain reason. And his reason was to expose me to chiropractic. And then I sent away for an application, which we had to do in the past. You get a packet in the mail and actually do paper and pen and send it back to the school. And 2-3 weeks later, you get an acceptance letter instead of 24 hours later on the inbox and the email. And that was my first exposure to chiropractic. It was beautiful. And then I'm sure we'll get into some other exposures too.
So you went off to chiropractic school. Where'd you graduate from?
I graduated from Life in Atlanta, in Marietta, Georgia in '96.
Okay, great. And where did you set up practice? 96, you know, that's when I graduated. So that's how way we go back.
Yeah, we've been traveling a similar timeline, man. And
right.
You know, listen, I appreciate what you've done. I know that this podcast is about me and my story, but I just want to highlight you for a moment and what you and Rochelle have done for the chiropractic profession, nonstop bringing the promise of chiropractic to the masses. So thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that. But you know, when you're just like you, when you are filled up with purpose and something's given you so much, you want to make sure you do your best to give back to it.
Well, great. So graduated in 1996, opened up a few months later when I got licensed in Atlanta, stayed in Georgia. Like you, I met my wife in chiropractic college in third quarter in the cadaver lab of all places. And we opened up a practice, and then we proceeded to open up a new clinic every 4 years. So we had 4 practices in 16 years. And my thing was being out of the office, mostly setting up wellness programs for Fortune 500 companies. So I was going into the UPS world headquarters, Home Depot, Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport on that campus, just delivering lunch and learn workshops to the employees who inevitably ended up turning around and filling up our practices as new practice members and patients. And that was a wild, amazing ride. Loved it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you were up there practicing for how long?
Practicing in Georgia for 20 years.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So what are some before we get into your books, because I want to put some time focusing on that, and people know how vital they are to pick them up. What are some things that were real gifts that you learned about life from being in practice?
Humbleness.
That's a beautiful one.
Just being so grateful to either what you might call a higher power, God, universal intelligence, whatever you might want to call it, to have the ability to lay our hands and our hearts on a person's body, just as Reggie taught me, Reggie Gold, to apply that force, because we're not the ones adjusting the person. They're adjusting themselves back into alignment because they were the ones that put themselves out of alignment. We know where to go at the appropriate time, and putting in that force and stepping back and just allowing their body to do with the impulse that we deliver what it's going to do. So just that humbleness of that experience. And then the other thing I would say, Danny, is gratitude. Chiropractic, and in the practice of chiropractic, taught me so much about gratitude. Being grateful for the fact that chiropractic found me. I was not looking for it at all. As a matter of fact, I was a sociology major in undergrad. I always loved people like you. I always loved people and finding out more about what makes people tick. And then chiropractic found me. I wasn't looking for it at all. So that gratitude of being able to be exposed to the gift of chiropractic, to be able to receive adjustments and then to deliver them, meeting my wife, having 3 girls, all because of chiropractic, meeting lifelong friends in chiropractic college that I'm still in touch with, and being able to go out into the community and meet people that are subluxated, that they don't even know what that word is, they don't know what that means, and then turning them on to this experience. And listen, as you know this saying, some will, some won't, so what, who's next? And we need to keep moving on and telling the next person about it. So chiropractic practice, being humble and that gratitude for sure.
Yeah, all super, super important. Now, you wrote 2 books. Let's talk about those. Chiropractic Revealed and 8 Laws of Practice Success. Was that the title?
8 Laws of Chiropractic Success.
Chiropractic Success. Okay, so let's talk about the first one, Chiropractic Revealed. Talk us about the inspiration to put that out.
The inspiration for Chiropractic Revealed came probably in the late part of 2008, being in practice and then having this voice enter into my head that, okay, you've had these clinics, you've built these practices. Now let's spotlight and highlight the greats that have come before us and write a book that is all about them and what inspired them and what chiropractic truly is about. So this book can get into the general public, into the general population, to teach people and the masses what the promise of chiropractic for humanity, which includes the 7.8 billion people on the planet. So the book was put together with the intention of it spreading out into the general population for people to truly understand what chiropractic is versus what they think it is, which is not what chiropractic truly is about.
Right.
Fully, in totality. That was the inspiration.
Wow. And so tell us about some of the stories around the book. Who's in it? What's in it? Some of the things that have come back to you when people have read it or their experience. Because I know when you travel, I'm sure people have said things like about their experience with it, what they've gotten.
I'll answer the last part first. And so there's a pretty famous chiropractor right now. His name escapes my mind, although he has a big movement like Arnaud Bernier had. His is called Kairos training. Brett Jones, his name just popped into my head. Anyway, so I saw him on an airplane one day. He happened to sit next to me after a chiropractic seminar. I wasn't attending it. And he said to me, David, I just want to let you know, if it wasn't for Chiropractic Revealed, I would not have become a chiropractor. And I was like, how did that all happen? He said, when I was touring Life West, one of the people in the admissions department gave me a copy of the book. And when I left the tour and I went home, on the airplane, I read Pasquale Sarasoli's chapter. And Pasquale Sarasoli was talking mostly about tone.
Right.
Tone. What D.D. Palmer, he said, founded the profession on tonality. And that's all network spinal analysis and tone, man.
Right.
So that was one of the people and one of the stories. But some of the people that are in the book, you have Donnie Epstein, right? The founder, your stepdad, the founder of Network Spinal Analysis. You have John DeMartini, Claudia Onrig, Jeannie Ohm, Pediatric Pregnancy Chiropractic, Arno Bernier, Guy Reekman, Fabrizio Mancini, Reggie Gold, Joe Strauss. I know I mentioned, well, Terry Ronberg, who we don't hear about anymore, but Terry with
he was a big force in the profession for a long time.
Yeah. So, all these greats, and some of the wisdom in that book, and there's so much of it, really boils down to chiropractic is so much more than the relief of pain. That's a small portion of what we do. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Reggie says in the book, Reggie Gold, is that if you're telling a patient or a practice member that I'm going to help you get out of pain, the problem with that is if they do get out of pain, they think that chiropractic, it worked. If that person does, he said, if the person doesn't get out of pain, they're going to think that chiropractic doesn't work. Right. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it behooves us as chiropractors, and this is in the book, he says, to share the true story of everything, the other 99.9% of chiropractic, that whether or not you have pain, you're a candidate for chiropractic care, or else you're positioning yourself as a chiropractor into that revolving door practice. They're going to come in and they're going to revolve right out, whether or not they have pain. And he said, we should be daring enough to go out on a limb in our patient education classes and tell the people in the class that your pain has just as good of a chance going away without chiropractic care than with it. And that blew me away, man. Because pain is transitional. It comes and it goes. But what always is in us is that innate wisdom that has the ability to be fully expressed when we have no interference in the nervous system.
That's such a vital thing, is that it's pain is transitional. It comes and goes, but your life, the whole thing's about your life. It's a bigger thing than that. And nobody wants to be in pain. Like I have times when I'm in pain. I don't wish that on people. And at the same time, there's bigger things in your life than whether you're in or out of pain.
Exactly. And be under chiropractic care if you're in pain, of course. Mm-hmm. But now let's tell you what the full picture looks like. And then it's their choice if they get it or not. Mm-hmm. So that's Reggie. Oh man, Donnie, as you know, for your whole life, operates at such a different level that if you don't have Chiropractic Revealed, the book, and you could find it on Amazon or connect with me, I'll send you all a copy. Get it just for what Donnie has to say. It takes these conversations that we have about chiropractic to a whole nother level. And John DeMartini too. It's just really magnificent. And Guy Reekman.
Right.
Guy Reekman really went off in the book in a great way. So good stuff, man.
Excellent. Excellent. And people can get that where?
Amazon.
Okay. Then you have another book, 8 Laws of Chiropractic Success. Let's talk about that. When did that come out?
So 9 years later. And there's a power in the number 9. As we know, it takes 9 months for a baby to grow in the womb. Mm-hmm. There's a power in the numbers 3, 6, and 9 in numerology. But Nikola Tesla talks about 3-6-9 principle. For whatever reason, 9 years later, the 8 Laws of Chiropractic Success was born. Now, at the end of the interviews of each of the people in Chiropractic Revealed, I said, okay, Chiropractic Revealed questions are complete. Now we're going to go into success principles. It's going to be a separate book. It's going to come out soon. I didn't know what soon was. The universe told me it was 9 years later. So in the 8 Laws of Chiropractic Success, all of the people from Chiropractic Revealed are in that book as well. Those answers were from 2009. But then again, I went and interviewed a whole layer of people on top of them, such as you and Rochelle, Jeremy and Amanda Hess, Billy DeMoss, Bragg Lowacki, Jason Deitch, Paul Reed, Tim Young, and Jessica Harden, who you know, she's spoken at Mile High.
Right.
And their success principles for chiropractors to be more successful, both in practice, professionally, and in their life personally. So there's the 8 laws, and just a few of them. You have the law of intention, the law of action, the law of service, the law of rejection, being able to go out into your community and tell everybody about this thing that we love and we know will help them transform their life, called chiropractic. The law of vision, mindset. So these were some of the different laws. And then all of the beautiful people that are in the book got to give their information about these different laws. And each law is its own chapter. And in that chapter is where you all reside, giving all of that great information. So that was just a lot of fun too.
And what do you think is, from your experience, is a vital key in practice success, in chiropractic success?
That you are in your place of practice for the people. It's always about the people. It's not about how much money you accumulate in your bank account. It's how much love you can accumulate in your heart account. So that love that you build up in your heart account, you can then have that to give to more and more people. So being able to focus on, it's a service mindset, it's a service mentality, and we are servants, period. And it's important to go in the morning and have the pre-morning session with the staff and talk about who's coming in and all this stuff, but the theme has to be situated around love, the love of service, constantly serving, and then you'll be filled up yourself, not what plan are they on and how much money am I making from this person and how much insurance visits this. That's all important, right?
Right.
But that's not the focus.
Right. And that's the thing. Your focus and practice, so important. I'm so grateful that you said, it's funny I use the word grateful, that you said the 2 things that you learned were humbleness and gratitude. And I would agree, those are two top things. So let's talk about that word success, because that gets a lot of baggage. People have fear of success. People have things where they, sabotage their success, or they don't want to look too successful, or they have success in one area but not another area of their life, or success in multiple areas and one area is really hurting. What can we say about the meaning of success in a chiropractic, a spiritual life experience?
Oh man, that is just,
Huge.
Danny, we could do a whole weekend workshop on that, and probably will at some point. We're traveling.
And I think people should start with the book.
Yeah, so
let's talk about that.
Okay, so I heard a quote once from an amazing person. His name is Joseph Campbell.
Yes.
And if you all can go search Joseph Campbell and his PBS interview series with Bill Moyers, you can find it on YouTube. And it's all about the hero's journey.
Right.
We're all on a journey, and we're our own hero. One of the things, what happens is we typically become a hero for someone else.
Right.
Because oftentimes we lose ourselves in our childhood, because the home life, and this has everything to do with success and why people sabotage themselves. And they don't reach that pinnacle of success that's available to all of us, as you guys teach in your programs. It's because we oftentimes have come from so much dysfunction in our homes as children, and we have a lot of shame. So, and John Bradshaw talks about shame and healing our shame, and the homecoming and the family and the inner child. It behooves every chiropractor, if they want to reach the pinnacle of success that we all came here to bathe in. And I believe success is our birthright, financially, spiritually, intimacy, that we find in chiropractic our own bliss. Because Joseph Campbell says, when you follow your bliss, the universe will open up doors where there was once walls. And chiropractors hit walls, and it's not bad or good or right or wrong. It's part of their journey to be able to break through those walls by recognizing, where in my childhood am I still blocked? And where do I have this shame? So when you can heal a lot of the hurt from the childhood and the shame by going through certain rites of passage, so to speak, and having these breakthroughs, you'll experience this freedom. So success, in a nutshell, in my experience and working with clients, because I've also been a transformational life coach for 30 years, is recognizing what your biggest fears are. And when you can break through your biggest fears, you will recognize your greatest freedoms. That freedom experience, as you know, is where that success is, and then it'll just pour into you.
So important, and so important to have a bigger vision of success. Tony Robbins, one of the things he talks about is that there's two things that people have to juggle: the art of achievement and the art of fulfillment, and they have to master both. And often people focus achieve, and they're not fulfilled, or there's areas, or they forget lots of fulfillment, but people are taking their furniture. So there's a place of that growing in both those areas, and growing in other areas, obviously more so. So, well, currently you do a lot to help the future generation of chiropractors be born. I don't mean born like having children, but
well, you never know.
but helping them get on the path of chiropractic, and you one of your children has is a chiropractor now, I believe in Arizona. But tell something about the experience of, or share something about helping people get in the chiropractic path for their life.
Well, I've had a great experience, Danny, in about, I guess, over the past 10 years, just being able to travel and speak in major colleges and universities as a chiropractor with a mask on it in disguise, in a sense, going in and helping undergraduate students find their purpose and find their pathway. And I let them know each and every class I go into, or each and every one-on-one session I'll have with a student of undergrad or whatever it is, that finding your gift is very simple to know. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best.
Oh, that's great.
With the least amount of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. So I always say it behooves everyone on the planet, because there's a lot of chiropractors, as you and Rochelle know, that are lost. Find time and sit and identify the things that you love to do with the people that you love doing it with, and recognize and identify what you're uniquely talented at. Because that's what the world needs. The world needs people that are loving what they're doing, that are uniquely talented at it. So that's what I tell these students, man. Identify this stuff, spend time on that, have fun in undergrad, and then you'll find your gift. Get a degree or get 90 semester units and find the chiropractic college that's the best fit for you. Because I don't know which one is, but only by going and touring Life University in Atlanta at the Life Leadership Weekend, Sherman College of Chiropractic in Spartanburg, South Carolina, at their Roar weekends or their Sherman Pride weekend, and Life West at their Discovery weekends. I name those three because those are the ones that I tell students to take a look at, and I've sent them to all three of those schools. And I think as chiropractors, it is important for each one of us to be able to identify who in our practices might be a candidate for as a future chiropractor, because there's more chiropractors that are retiring and passing away than chiropractors getting into the profession.
Mm-hmm.
So we're shrinking in numbers as a profession. I love growing chiropractic practices, but I also love growing the profession. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for more chiropractors to come on this wagon, so we can grow the profession together.
Well, last I checked, there's no shortage of spines distorted.
It's so true.
So the world needs more chiropractors. I want to say we really appreciate and are thankful for all your contributions to the chiropractic profession. One more time, where can people grab either of those books?
So you can go to Amazon.com and just punch in Chiropractic Revealed or the 8 Laws of Chiropractic Success and use the number 8. You can punch in my name, David Scheiner, Scheiner. Mm-hmm. You can also email me at david@davidscheiner.com. And that's David, my first name, at David Scheiner, first and last name.com. Let me know if you want a signed, personalized with a little message copy, and I'll mail one to you. Or if you want to go to Amazon, it's easier to get one that way. Makes great holiday gifts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and what I would like to say is also where can people see you next? This is we're at the end of November, beginning December. Where can people connect with you next so they can say hello?
Well, I'll be in Las Vegas tomorrow doing a chiropractic discovery night in Henderson, Nevada for prospective students. So if anybody, well, this is not going to come out immediately. I will be, Fred Schofield is having a training this weekend in Tempe, Arizona. I'll be there. And then probably Park or Vegas in February, and most certainly Mile High in September. Hopefully one day, just like we got to this podcast, hopefully I get to grace the stage at Mile High someday. I'll be speaking for the Arizona Association of Chiropractic, 2 hours on principles of chiropractic in June.
Awesome.
So I'll see you guys somewhere, man. When you see me, come and say hello and give me a hug.
Yeah, definitely do that. Dr. David's a great person to talk to and connect and share stories with. David, I look forward to crossing paths with you in 2023, and I thank you for continuing to carry the torch and help more people find their path to the chiropractic profession, both as practice members and also as chiropractors, as fledgling chiropractors, as Fred Barge would say. So, and thank you for your contributions.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for everything again that you and Rochelle are doing, and I can't wait to see you guys soon.
And everyone, thank you for listening, watching the Mile High podcast. Keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. And remember, reserve your seats for Mile High in September 2023. Rise up to milehigh.com. We look forward to seeing you on higher ground.